I sold all your stuff. I'm going to the Keys with the money.
What? Why did you do that?
Just for childbirth. You overreacted by going back home for so long. It's a punishment for throwing away your responsibilities at home. You should be very sorry for what you did and behave from now on. My mother-in-law showed me the $100 bills she must have gotten from selling my personal belongings and smirked at me. After a difficult pregnancy, my baby was finally born. And yet, the moment I returned home, I'm greeted by her harassment. Do I have to live in this hostile environment for the rest of my life? Being bullied by mother-in-law while raising a child and doing housework. I absolutely cannot endure such a life. My body trembles with anger. An inexpressible emotion overcomes me. Then, things take a sudden turn. An unexpected outcome falls upon us. I am Lisa, 30 years old. I became a full-time housewife when I got married a year ago. I met my husband Sean about 6 years ago. We were colleagues, and at the same time, we were rivals. Both of us were extremely passionate about our work. We competed to take the initiative for the projects assigned to us by our superior. I refused to lose to him in any project or presentation. They must have had a positive effect. Before I knew it, we had gone from good rivals to good supporters. We were drawn to each other for the way we worked hard at our job. We got married after 2 years of dating. He requested something unexpected at the time of the registry.
It may be wrong to ask this to someone who loves working, but I want you to be a full-time housewife.
What? A housewife?
You see,
I'm not saying I don't want to. I'm just a little surprised.
To be honest, I was shocked. It just sounded quite an outrageous request at the time. I found the job challenging more than I liked it. It wasn't like I didn't want to do the housework, so it depended on the reason. I didn't mind becoming a housewife, as he put it. Why do you ask me that? He became a little flustered. I'm really not good at housework. What?
I think you would most likely end up taking care of the home by yourself. On top of it, if you have to work full-time, it'll be a lot of burden on you.
Oh no, I'll be fine.
If you really want to continue working, I'm okay with it. But honestly, I want you to be a housewife and take care of the house.
Oh, babe. He was aware that it was a selfish request and spoke apologetically from beginning to end. I felt somewhat endeared to him. After thinking about it for a while, I decided to accept his wish. I resigned from my job upon marriage and devoted myself of taking care of the house. However, I regretted my choice right away. I never realized how painful it was to stay at home. It all started with a trivial matter. One day, a few days after I got married, the doorbell rang. I thought it was a courier, so I opened the front door without checking who it was. There stood my mother-in-law, Mary. Oh, hi, Mary.
Hey, Lisa.
My name is Lisa.
All right, whatever. Let me inside.
Wait! She forcefully came into the house after mistaking my name. She kicked off her shoes, sat down on a sofa, and made herself at home. Then she looked around the room and let out a deliberate sigh. When I went to the kitchen to make a drink for her, she yelled loudly at me.
You stay home all day, but it seems that you can't even clean properly. There's dust on the edge of the picture frame, and your hair is on the floor.
Excuse me. I'm planning to clean in the afternoon.
Why are you young people so quick to make excuses nowadays? You have no common sense.
I'm sorry.
I wonder why Sean chose you. I could have found a better match for him.
She suddenly showed up and immediately started throwing sarcasm at me. She was the mother of my beloved husband after all. Of course, I didn't want her to dislike me, but recognize me as a member of her family. I wasn't going to talk back to her for those reasons. I kept my mouth shut and just listened to her unreasonable remarks. After that day, she began to come over frequently. She always looked for faults and criticized them. She complained that the house was not tidy enough and that the laundry was left in the dryer. She commented that she felt sorry for Sean for having an incompetent wife, and so on. My nerves were getting frayed by her heartless words. No matter how much stress I felt, I couldn't talk to Sean about it. I thought about asking him for advice many times. In the beginning, if I did, he would have probably got furious and scolded her. But it was highly unlikely that she would have backed down quietly after that. On the contrary, I thought that it would have probably ignited the fire even more. I was too afraid to confide in him when I thought of that. His father passed away when he was in college. Since then, he had been living with her. Her attachment to him was so strong. She once suggested that the three of us should have lived together. He firmly refused her idea, but it was becoming more or less the same as living together as she came over to bully me almost every day after we got married. Then, a turning point came to me. It was on our first wedding anniversary. I was feeling ill and, on Sean's advice, went to the hospital. There I found out that I was pregnant. When I told him about it, he looked at me puzzled. I showed him the echo picture, and he suddenly burst into tears.
Oh my God, we're going to be parents.
Yes, that's right. You're going to be a father.
Whoa, I'm so happy that I can't stop crying.
Oh, I'm so happy too.
I don't know why the tears. Thank you, honey. I'm going to work harder from now on. For the baby's sake, let's both do our best.
We will. I was overjoyed when I got married, but I felt a different kind of happiness this time. To have a new life in my belly with the person I loved was much a mysterious and blissful thing. At the same time, a new concern arose. It was Mary, who regularly visited me without an appointment. When she happened to come over, I was so nauseous that I had to run to the bathroom. Of course, this was a symptom of morning sickness, not an illness. She guessed something from the sequence of my actions and grinned at me as I came out of the bathroom.
Are you pregnant?
Oh, well, I knew it.
Why didn't you tell me when you found out?
I'm sorry, but I'm suffering from morning sickness right now. I was going to tell you when I was in the stable period.
Oh,
well, that's okay. But more importantly,
I'm assuming it's a boy,
right? Suddenly, I was asked an unexpected question, and my thoughts stopped. We haven't found out the sex yet, and it didn't even make any difference anyway, as long as the baby was born healthy. Her question sounded to have a hidden meaning that only a male baby was worthy of being born. We don't know the sex yet.
Oh, I see. Well, one boy is enough for the successor. Raising a child costs a lot of money. By all means, have a boy and spend all your money on him.
Well, as I said, we don't know if it's a boy.
Shut up. Just have a boy. Otherwise, you are worthless.
She opened the refrigerator with a giggle and grabbed the Jell-O for herself. Sean had bought it for me as I couldn't eat anything else. I felt an emptiness inside, more than anger, and I was left with an undescribable taste in my mouth. I sobbed quietly after she left. What was wrong with her? It didn't matter what sex the baby was, as long as it was born healthy. That was all that matters. I thought everyone thought that way. She had experienced childbirth and raising a child before me. How could she say such a thing without a care in the world? Then I was convinced. If I had to deal with her any longer, I would have driven myself crazy during the pregnancy. If I didn't do anything about it, I would have affected not only me, but also my unborn baby. It wasn't a typical thing to go back to one's parents for childbirth. However, I told Sean that I wanted to return home because I was too anxious about my first delivery and decided to leave at 7 months pregnant. Mary complained that it was ridiculous and that I was abandoning my responsibilities at home, but I was not going to take any risk. Sean readily agreed, so I packed up and went back to my parents in another town. He visited me regularly, while I received numerous spiteful messages from Mary every day.
You lack a sense of responsibility as a wife. I feel sorry for your child for having an incompetent mother like you. Have a boy and come back as soon as possible.
And so on.
All the messages sounded like I was doing something wrong. I felt nauseated every time I saw them, so I turned off the message notification and stopped looking at them.
A few months later, I gave birth to a long-awaited first child. It was a girl. She was so adorable that I didn't care about the gender. Sean seemed to feel the same way. He held her in his arms and shed tears of joy.
Thank you, honey. Great job. I can't wait to welcome you guys back home.
I'm looking forward to a new life together.
I'll put the crib together, and if there is anything else you need, I'll take care of it. Call me when you're feeling better.
Thanks for everything, hon. Sean's work was in the midst of its busy season. He was working overtime every day. Although we regularly had video calls, it seemed he was bringing work home, too. Unlikely, his business trip coincided with my return, and my father had to drive me home. It had been a few months. What was different from when I left was that I was holding my beloved baby in my arms. However, I felt something weird once I was in front of the house. Sean was supposed to be away on a trip, but I felt another presence inside. I opened the front door with trepidation, and sure enough, the door was unlocked and the living room light was on. I slowly walked down the hallway and peeked into the living room. To my surprise, Mary was there. "What are you doing here?" She turned around to my voice, and then smiled wryly and slowly approached me.
It's been a long time, Lisa.
You're really useless to give birth to a girl. Answer my question. Why are you in my house?
There's a duplicate key under the pot at the front door.
I haven't told Sean, but I've been coming here regularly. That's trespassing.
What's wrong with a mother visiting her son's house?
She smiled condescendingly and pointed to my room.
By the way, I cleaned up your closet.
For what? What do you mean?
I sold all your stuff. I'm going to the kids with the money I made.
She took out a wad of $100 bills and waved it in front of my face. When I went to check my closet, I found my jewelry box emptied and all my designer's bags gone. I guessed that the bills had come from the sales of my things. I went back into the living room and shouted at her. How dare you? Why did you take my things without my permission?
Why? Of course, it's because I don't like you. You don't even work, but you have expensive stuff.
That's why I sold them all. But how could you go to such length?
Just for childbirth, you overreacted by going back home for so long. It's a punishment for throwing away your responsibilities at home. You should be very sorry for what you did and behave from now on. It was at the moment that my heart instantly shattered. What the hell? Why did I have to go through this hell? It was unforgivable. I didn't need to put up with her. My body trembled with anger, and the back of my throat flared up. My vision distorted and her face, smiling fearlessly, crumbled. I was so enraged that I was about to scream my head off at her. At the moment, my daughter started crying, and I came back to myself. I could not stay there any longer. I opened the door to leave the living room with my daughter in my arms. Then I bumped into Sean, who had just returned home. He was full of anger. Honey,
What the hell is going on? What the hell were you saying?
his enraged voice startled not only me, but also Mary. She was probably more freaked out than surprised. Sweating profusely from her face, she rushed to his side. Sean, when did you get back?
Just a few minutes ago. When I opened the front door, I heard your loud voice. Did you break into our house and sold Lisa's personal things?
No, it's not what you think. I was just teaching her a lesson to be a good wife. You understand that, don't you? She gave birth to a girl. You must be upset too.
What's wrong with the girl?
Huh?
She is still our baby, no matter what. Who the hell you think you are to tell us what's right and wrong?
I am your mother. She raised her voice in grief, but the expression on his face didn't change. He continued to scold her relentlessly.
In addition to trespassing, you are guilty of embezzlement by selling someone's property without permission. What you did is a crime. I will never think of you as my mother again.
Listen, I'm doing this for you.
What's in it for me? I've never felt so much disgust for someone before. If you ever hurt Lisa again, I'll turn you to the police.
Oh no, wait, Sean!
Shut up! Get the hell out of here.
He grabbed her arm tightly and pulled her towards the front door. She desperately resisted. When her eyes caught mine, she tearfully pleaded with me. Lisa, please help me. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just wanted to make you a good wife. I don't care if the baby is a boy or a girl anymore. Please tell him it's a misunderstanding. Even in such situation, it seemed that an apology was not an option for her. If only she would have apologized from the bottom of her heart, even just once, I would have thought about it. There was no way to save her at that point. I gave a death stare to the woman, who had conveniently begun to appeal to me. You don't care if it's a girl or boy? I don't need you to tell me that. An heir? What era do you think you live in? She was not born to be at your beck and call. I put up with your harassment for a long time, but I've had enough. I will never consider your family again. Don't even mention my name from now on. Even when we decide on the baby's name, we will never tell you. I won't even let you see her. I will not let someone like you, who enjoys stepping on people's hearts, touch her. Now, get out of here and stay the hell away from my family. As soon as I finished, Sean pushed her out the door and threw her bag onto the street. She must have been in great shock. She was crying and apologizing for an hour in front of the house. Of course, we did not react at all. We have completely severed our relationship with her since then. We never let her see our daughter, and when she visits us at home, we never let her in. The only contact we made was to demand compensation for selling my things. When Sean confronted her with the idea of suing her if she didn't pay up,
She readily agreed. As a result, her small savings are running out. Now, she can no longer live on her pension alone and works as a cleaner. I don't think I will have anything to do with her again, under any circumstances in the future. Sean must have been prepared for that and cut off the relationship with her. We, on the other hand, are now living happily with the three of us. Now that Mary is out of the picture, I realize how happy I am to be able to spend ordinary days. I'm sure that we will encounter various difficulties in the future. I hope to overcome them with my husband and sometimes with my daughter as a family of 3.